Bada boom! Hi everyone, welcome. It is release day. So today I have released the next installment in the template series, which is the Audio Imperia Nucleus Template. So I'll be doing a giveaway on the stream again, as usual. You know the drill: Facebook, comment, etc. So there is that link. I can leave that right away for you guys here. Boom, over there. This time it's a little bit different because I highly suggest to only comment if you either have Audio Imperia's Nucleus or intend to get it, because if you don't have the library, that template is pretty much useless because it is the Nucleus template. And without Nucleus, it just will be a template without any sound at all, which is not really helpful. So, hi Bernie, hi Jean Bamarie, comment tu vas? My French is very rusty. Maybe switch to English, that would help. And so, yeah, leave a comment on that Facebook post if you like to get a copy of that template. Without further ado, let's switch the screens here before I forget that again. And will this work on Nucleus Lite? No, it won't. This is actually specifically tailored for the big or the regular version of Nucleus Orchestral Core. Oh, okay. Thanks for translating French. I'm very good. Thank you very much. I'm very happy about this release today. I'm very happy with the perception already. So some people already seem to enjoy it. Again, let me give you that hint. If you grab it and you actually like it, which I hope you do, you could help me a lot by leaving a review on the product pages. Either if you got the Cubase or the Studio One template or now the Nucleus template, reviews always help, especially when they are more on the positive realm. So if you grab it, if you get it, leave a review. You have Jaeger. That's something I will look at later down the line. So I have just started with this. So there will be more templates and tracks with different libraries in the future. I also take suggestions, by the way, if you think I so look for a good working Spitfire Albion 1 template, or for actually one of the next things I want to do is Sonoscore the Orchestra, a full template with that. But nevertheless, let's jump straight in. So what differentiates these templates a little bit from the first release that I did with a quick load template is that it's not a quick load template. So these are specifically tailored for a certain library, and I also include a full produced track with mixing and routing and everything, and you get access to that. You can study the MIDI. Obviously, it's for personal use only, so you can't sell that as your own. But I think it's a good possibility to look into how mixing is done, how the MIDI data is set up, how the orchestration is done, if that is of interest. I mean, I am by no means an orchestrator per definition, but I write music every day in and out. So hopefully there's something for each and everyone to get out of that. I included some additional stuff for Nucleus, and we will look at that in the course of the stream. Hi Dirk, morning from Scotland. What's CDO? CDO is my website, Composing Tutorials Online. So that's why CDO. Hi from Turkey, Erhan. Hi, greetings to Turkey. Bernie, Albion 1 you have. Yeah, Albion 1, I think a lot of people have that. So I definitely want to look into creating a kind of template with this one. So without further ado, if you haven't heard it, I did a track with that Nucleus template, fully mixed. And again, when you get this, the whole track is part of the bundle, so you can dive deep into it at your preferred place at home, in your studio, wherever you are, and have access to a DAW, preferably Cubase, because that's what this template is set up in. Long talking, sorry for that. So let's jump straight in. Here is the track that I wrote that you get with Nucleus. Let's have a full listen to it first. There we go. And obviously it starts at bar 3. So before we dive any deeper, actually what I need to do is thank Audio Imperia for creating such a great library that sounds like this. Well, not totally straight out of the box. There's a little bit of mixing involved, but it sounds bloody brilliant. So Nucleus is really on top of the game there with the sounds. Honestly, for me and my daily workload, the template is worth, not the template, the library is worth getting just for the brass sound alone, for the low brass. That's one of the beefiest brasses that I've ever had under my fingers. I love that. Anyway, so I don't want to go too much into what is happening on each and every channel, because that's what you have the template for when you get it, to actually look into it. It's built the same way that I built the quick load template, so you have access to all the inserts and effects right away from the individual MIDI channels. For example, on the strings, there's not much happening because I only have different EQ settings for these. So give you a quick example. So for example, the spiccato strings, let's listen to these on their own. Just so you know what's happening there in terms of mixing. Actually, this library does not need very much in terms of mixing, which is actually good. But where can we... So that's without EQ. So pretty much just getting rid of the stuff that we don't need for the sounds, and some slight cuts in the 1K and 2.5K range, which was just a little bit nasal. For the most part, I stuck to stock plugins on this version. So the only additional plugins that you are going to need to make this template work is my trusty Valhalla Vintage Verb. I actually cannot really work without it, if I'm honest. But for your convenience, if you don't have Vintage Verb, I included, let me get rid of the stems here. If we look at the send effects, the inserts, I included the stock reverb in case you don't have Valhalla. So when you open up the project and you get a missing plugin error message upon opening because you don't have the Valhalla vintage verb, you can just activate the Cubase internal reverb. May not sound as good as the Valhalla, but it's at least something that you can work with. I wish this template was available for Logic. I wish that too, and I am seriously looking into that. I need to bring my Mac up to par and get the latest version of Logic. And hopefully I can provide you with a Logic version of all the templates anytime soon, but I can't give an exact date on that yet. Is Nucleus premixed straight out of the box? No, not necessarily. So it's, well, it depends on what you want to do. You can work with it as it is, but I definitely did some mixing on a bunch of the stuff to make it work for this track. This is something that I need to seriously point out. The template comes pre-mixed, but the pre-mix is based upon this track that I've written. If you start working with it, please, please, please consider these mixing settings as starting points and not as set in stone ultimate settings. Because when you start writing with it, you need to adjust the mixing settings to suit your composition and to suit your track. So please, it's the same as with presets in Ozone or whatever EQ plugin you use where you have presets available. These are just starting points. You still need to tweak it and see if it matches what you have in terms of sonic material. So please, please, please don't take that for granted with the mix settings that are included in the template. It's just a kickoff point. It's a starting point for you to get going and to maybe get an idea if you're not familiar. So if you're not too familiar with the process of mixing, it may give you some ideas why certain instruments are treated the way they are. And help them to stand out a little better in the mix. So that's why I included the full project, and you get access to the MIDI, to the mix settings, etc. So you can get an idea for why certain mix decisions are made the way they are made. So when we look at the cello spiccato, for example, in the second part, they do kind of a guitar-like power chord rhythm. And you can see it's not much. The settings that I have are really, really subtle, but it's definitely. I'm saying that we should always use our ears. Maybe that's what these two things on the side of your head are for. Use them. So, and as you can see, these changes are really subtle. So when I switch it on and off, it's really, especially these cuts here. There's an inbuilt solo function that you can listen which frequencies are affected. So when I play that again and solo these two spots, so these are the cutting points. And usually a lot of my sets have a low cut applied for all kinds of rumble that you just don't need in the mix. So we'll see a lot of low cuts on these instruments. If we listen to the string section on its own, I will also, let me open up the stems here. I did a little bit of tweakment on the string bus. And you need OTT for this, but luckily this is a free plugin, and I included the link in the manual on the website, so you can download it from the Xfer website. It's a free plugin that you can install and have it working. And this thing makes all the difference when you are going for that more hybrid and hyped approach in sound. When I solo the string section, especially in this part here, and turn the OTT on and off, you will immediately hear what it does to the sound. So that's with OTT. That's without. And keep in mind, the setting is like at 22%, 20%. I rarely go above that because it just crazes the sound. But it helps so much when you, especially when you have very dense mixes and dense arrangements, it helps to stand out with the stuff. I only apply them to Alexandre, thank you for taking the time to write. I know how hard it is to write in English for a Frenchman, so I appreciate the effort. So, okay, this template, when you open it up, is completely loaded. So when you open the template and have the plugins that are required, which is luckily just the Valhalla Vintage Verb as a commercial plugin, OTT is free, and other than that, I only use the stock plugins from Cubase, so you have them anyway. And all these contact instances are preloaded and pre-set up and pre-routed. So you don't need to do anything. And I will come to that in a second with the empty template. So I not only want to give you a track that I wrote that you can analyze and check out for yourself, I included both versions, the modern mix and the classic mix, as a ready-to-go starting point to open the project and start writing without worrying to load anything. In terms of computer specs, the full template requires around 9 gigabytes of RAM. So overall, the whole Cubase session takes 13 gigs of RAM now. So at least I recommend to have a 16 gigabytes of RAM, and ideally anything above an i7 processor. That should be good enough to get you going without any issues. And so, yeah, this is all preloaded. Another thing that you get with this template is that I have included the initial sounds from Nucleus, or the initial patches that you get in the sound design section, are these pads, like 10 pads. You get the idea, and you get the drones. 10 different drones. So I took that a little bit further and edited the pad instruments with the possibilities that are on board with the effects and starting points and attack and release, etc., and created some extra patches like some soft Brahms. Some very nasty lead. Angry Mary, I don't know why I named it like that. So just some additional patches with the stuff that is built in. So stuff like that, just a little add-on, so you get some more sounds out of Nucleus. And other than that, yeah, it's fully pre-mixed. And again, what you get is this fully produced track. You get a version with the modern mix preloaded, which is pretty much the same thing, just without the MIDI data. And you get another version with everything set to the classic mix. You also see the master bus treatment here for this track. So I really try to look deep into gain staging and make sure that when you have everything running, that you don't run into I will talk about the legato and the track delay in a second. How I handle that and how that works. There is a delay as well, and I will talk about that in a little moment. So the master chain, just a vintage compressor, a little bit tape emulation, and a maximizer at the end of the chain to beef up the volume. If I turn off and on the master chain, I could have easily slapped on ozone on that or something, but I really wanted to get this as versatile as possible in case you don't have much third-party plugins. So I wanted to work with what Cubase has on board, and you can always change that to your preferred plugins later. So if you do have some wave stuff or Fab filter, you can change out the EQ. I actually prefer to work with Fab filter instead of the Steinberg frequency, but in the end, the job they do is pretty much the same. So yeah, comparison master chain with and without. So when I take that off, that's the pure sound without the master chain. And you can see in the fader here, we're somewhere close to the -10 mark. So that leaves enough, more than enough headroom to get this mastered. And then, I mean, obviously the master will always sound better because it's louder. So you could compare that at the same volume it was before to really make sure what it's doing to the audio. But anyways, and the great thing is that the overall, due to the Steinberg plugins, the stock plugins, the latency is very, very reasonable. That's an amazing track. Thank you so much, Nolux. Appreciate it. So, a few workflow hints. So, as you know, or maybe not know, the Audio Imperia Jaeger as well as Nucleus have this setting with a sample start. And it's very in detail explained on their website if you want to know more about it. Basically what it does, when a note starts, let's go with a spiccato to explain that. So, when you sample a note, like this spiccato note, what happens is, especially with the bow, there's a moment that the bow touches the string before it actually moves on the string. And then also the instrument needs a certain amount of time till that note reaches the full volume and also the actual attack. So there's a bunch of stuff happening before the actual note rings at its peak volume. Like, this would be the peak volume of the note. The problem with that is that when you cut the notes exactly at that point where the loudest volume hits, so when you hit the key that the note immediately triggers, the problem is that it starts to sound synthy and artificial. Because it's just not natural. When we hear an instrument, be it plucked or strung with a string, with a bow, there is this time before the note comes, all these little noises that happen before that, that make it sound natural. So pretty much, if you go all the way, this little before the note hits. The downside of this approach is that you have this gap in live playing. So what Audio Imperia did is to unify that amount that all the nodes are pre-delayed. So in case of Nucleus, when you load the library from scratch or from initial setting, it's minus 125 milliseconds. In terms of live playing, that's not ideal when you want to play, especially with spiccatos, fast lines. Then it's a strange feeling because you hit the note and you can grab a coffee, and when you come back, the note rings. So what I did, and this sample start knob is set to MIDI CC18 from the get-go. So my workflow usually is, or coming to my workflow in a second, and these little MIDI informations that are sitting at the beginning of each track, besides defining the MIDI volume for each track, which is a little bit of my balancing approach, I usually first touch the MIDI CC7 before I actually touch the fader in the mixer. I try to have as much control in the MIDI itself. So when a track is too loud, I usually just lower the CC7 before I touch the fader in the Cubase mixer. And so the volume settings are there, and also this setting for the sample start on CC18. And this is sitting at 63, which translates to the middle position that the library comes loaded with. And if you click on the knob, you will see that this is minus 125. Or I think you don't see that because my face is in the way. Here, there you go. On this knob, so it's sitting at minus 125. And all tracks where this is applied in the template come preloaded with a negative track delay of minus 125. So ultimately meaning that when you have a line with 8th notes, for example, let's just put something in quickly. Doesn't matter what. So if this would have been at 0, what happens is when you activate the click, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's way behind the beat. Actually, why is that 16th notes? Hear how that is sitting behind the beat. So, and when you have that on minus 125, like I have that throughout the template pre-set up, so then it's sitting on the grid as it should. And the workaround for me, because when I work with Nucleus or also Jaeger in that regard, same problem. I have the CC18 on a MIDI controller right next to me. So before I record, what I do is just slam the MIDI controller all the way to the right. I get that immediate response. So right now, there is no pre-delay. So I can immediately track it and play it. So before recording, I just move the CC8. And what I want to say is I need to make sure that I do not record the CC18 data. So if that happens, so if I record something and then record CC18, so now I was hopefully on the beat, and 16th. But what now happens, since I recorded the CC18, as you can see here, now it doesn't work with the track delay. Now it's too early. So if you happen to record the CC18, just make sure to set it back to 63. Or do not record it at all from the get-go, because it gets initialized here to 63, but when recorded on a MIDI event, that overrides the setting from before. So if it happens that your strings are out of time, make sure that CC18 is where it should be. And then so now it's working as intended. Anything else? French horns are the only one that have the OTT applied directly to the sound. I love that sound. If you take the OTT off, so, again, I'm giving away a copy of the template for free if anyone wants to grab it. This is the link for you to leave a comment on Facebook. Again, as usual, I'm using that page commentpicker.com. Let me bring that into view. And then I can paste that Facebook URL. See, where are we? 11 comments right now. So, good chance of winning it. And going further. By the way, that's what it looks like. Yeah, I didn't post the URL. So let me do that. In case you don't want to win it, but buy it. It's on intro pricing for a week. 39 to start with, and goes 49 next week. I think June 13th. And let's not waste time and just write a little bit of stuff, shall we? And see how it works. I mean, you heard the track that I wrote with it, but let's create something new. Do a different tempo, 140, I don't know. And so this is pretty much the same as the modern track version that you get. So everything is pre-set up. You can directly jump in and start working. Obviously, the only thing missing is a piano, because Nucleus doesn't have a piano. I also created a sub-boom patch from the Gran Casa. That one was missing in my track. And I didn't want to use anything third-party or other sample stuff, so I just built that sub-boom from the included Gran Casa with a little bit of processing. Actually, that should be Modern Mix, I guess. Yeah, that sounds better. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. There's turning it to mono, a little bit of distortion, then compression, maximizing, another frequency shaper. These especially help a lot to get rid of the low end there. And last but not least, a little bit of reverb at the end. So just a sub-boom from the library. So you have that as well. Funny, in the beginning when I got Nucleus, I didn't even know that these were in there. I only saw the timpani hits because these are actually hidden in the multis instead of the single instruments. Timpani is also pre-mixed, very, very bright. And also, if you don't like any of the settings in terms of reverb or anything, access is granted through this little panel here from every MIDI channel, so you don't need to jump into the mixer. So if you feel that the percussion, some of the, by the way, interesting point. On some of the patches, I used the pre and post fader setting for the reverb. So if you put it post fader, you have the direct sound and then the tail afterwards. Let me bring the fader up, -5. So that's the post fader setting. If I put the reverb on pre fader, what happens is I can move the signal further back in the room. At least it sounds like that, by reducing the dry signal and having the reverb sent pre-fader means the amount that gets sent to the reverb is not dependent on the state of this channel fader. So when I reduce the volume of the channel fader, the reverb amount stays the same, and that gives the impression of the signal going further back into the room. So that means Cubase setting for the send is blue. That means it's pre-fader. And now I can... Now it sounds like it's further back in the room because we hear more of the reverb and less of the dry signal. So, and then obviously the EQ on the timpani helps to push it a little. Do you think Nucleus is good for warm sounding cues or classical Hollywood style? Honestly, let's give it a go. What I want to do is actually not save this. So I will go into a short pause and I will open the classic mix. So not the hyped one, but the classic mix, and work with that. So I will be back in just a little bit. Hopefully less than a minute. And there we go again. Vocal is back. So I just loaded the classic project. So this is what you're greeted with when you want to start working with the template. And the classic mix is not as high. Let me open all the folders here. The classic mix is not as hyped as the other one. So You can also start, I included the ensemble patches. You can start writing with the ensembles first. So we could say, let's start writing some string chords. Let's go with something slower. Okay. Actually, what I could do, I need to write something for DocuScores. I need to write some kind of war-themed, heroic soldier type of stuff. Military. Think of Hymn to the Fallen or something. So. Something along these lines. So I want to have a little bit more reverb on the strings here. So I go there and move that up. Actually, let's do that in double time. So it should be 120. Well, no, actually, let's do 80, but do the click and... Nope. Like that. Okay, so we have E minor. Let's bring in the keyboard view. What do we have that for? That's actually a nice theme. I think that sounds pretty good. So I move the CC18 before I record, so I don't record the actual CC18 data to make sure I have a direct response on the string on the key. But when I play it back later down the line, it resets the CC18 to 63, which translates to the -125 here. But again, we are on the classic setting now, so it doesn't sound as hyped as the modern mix. So let's go. Actually, I want to have that longer. Eve, I explained that before. CC18 relates to the sample start in the GUI. So the initial setting on the sample start is CC18 at 63, which translates to a negative track delay of -125. So, and it sounds better if you have that track delay, but it kind of is not very good for the playability. So I usually move the CC18 all the way up to have it playable, and then when it plays back, I actually have it on the grid where it should be. So I actually hard quantize that. And I just want to make sure that I didn't accidentally record CC18. If I did, I would just delete it here, or I can also just reinitialize on the MIDI data and set it to 63 in the beginning of that MIDI data here, and then I'm good again. Do you delay most of your instruments after quantizing? Not on this template, because everything is preset to a pre-delay of -125, because that's the way this library works. With other libraries, you need to manually adjust it per instrument, but here it's very simple because every instrument has that -125 track delay. So if you don't do any track delay at all and just play it in, it will still all sound good and in sync, just not when you activate a click. So that's the downside. Then it will be 125 milliseconds behind the click. But the workaround, as I've said, for me in my workflow is to leave it at the initial setting or reinitialize it after I may have accidentally recorded the CC18. And to play it in, I move 18 all the way up, so I have the immediate response on the keys. I want to check the mod wheel data here. I didn't do any mod wheel data. I need to play first. So I want to record some mod wheel movement. So there's a bunch of, I'm not sure if I like the F in there. And I can delete this and move that all the way. But I want to kind of lay down a melody first. So let's start with a solo trumpet, since we have one in Nucleus. All right, let's try. Oops. Strings are a bit loud as well. I mean, I used the ensemble patch, but I can likely go to instrument spreading it out to the individual sections. I will do that afterwards. I want to try something first here with a... Okay. I think I don't like the F there on the second part. I need to change that. Yeah, I change it to that. Scambot, you're truly asking that? The template is $39. Nucleus is, what is it, $499? I do not think that Nucleus is included in that template. No, of course, you need to get Nucleus from Audio Imperia if you don't have it yet. This template primarily is aimed at people who already have Nucleus. That would be the bargain of a lifetime if Nucleus was included. So yeah, you need the full version of Nucleus for this template to work. Sorry to disappoint there. Okay, so let's take that as a guideline. I think we can go a little bit slower on this whole thing. So when we go keep it simple. Simple is always good. That trumpet has a long breath. Moving that a little bit closer there. That's actually 16th. No, not hard corners, just a little bit. I want to make sure that the trumpet is screaming all the way. I want to have legato here. Oops. So let's quickly turn the ensemble section into individual sections. So we start with the strings. I mean, we could make it easy. I take the ensemble that I just recorded, go to the strings, and delete everything besides the first layer, the top layer. So like this. Okay, so make that an octave higher. Keep that ringing. Okay, so mod wheel. Give it a little rise towards the end here. So second violin is easy. There is no second violin in Nucleus, but I included an artificial one with the transpose trick. So bringing, where is it? Violence 2. Bringing the whole thing 2 steps down and in the transpose 2 steps up. So that gives us a different sample set. And in terms of mixing, I went for the modern approach and moved the second violins, flipped the stereo field, so moved them all the way to the right. So that means I can copy that onto the second violins, do the octave, and have an instant octave patch. So, but we need a little bit more. As I said, we copy the sustained strings that we just recorded. For the violas, I take the middle voices. So like this. First, there is no legato included in Nucleus, so... And I just want to fill the soundscape a little and the chords. And actually, let's leave that here when I do that together. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. And again, get rid of this, get rid of this. We can keep that ringing. Whoops. Just this one. So again, just leaving the middle voices in there to create a little bit of harmony. And I'm going to delete the A here, so we have a wider, more open chord. So what do we have so far? Okay, that rise on the string sounds bad with the trumpet. What did I do here? I stayed on the E. So let's do that. Just re-trigger. Yeah, that's better. Delete that, re-trigger the E. And here in the second violins, I want to do there's a Medal of Honor vibe to it. This thing was off here. Okay. So first things first, we're gonna need a little bit more definition in the chords. So I copy that again from the. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Yeah, it was fun to put together that trailer video. So let's start with the cellos. Legato cello in this case. Going with the root notes. And volume is fine, velocity. By the way, I think it's time to do a first drawing of the giveaway, don't you think? Where are we at? Where are we at? We have, let's take the link. I may give away 2 copies today of the template if you want to grab it. We have 17 comments right now. Maybe bass first pits. Yeah, I we'll look into that. Hey Remco, greetings over there. So, oh wait, I need to get in. Well, hurry! I'm doing the first drawing in a minute. Last chance. I actually want to have the cello have a pause there. And do the same thing again. Oops. Same thing again. So when I bring the cellos together with the violas, we have this. So this is currently not a template for Studio One. Talking about Studio One, version 5 was released today, so I need to look into that. But what I want to say is I can not for the life of me do a Studio One template of this right now with the current state, because Studio One does not really like the negative track delay. So if you use the negative track delay in Studio One, especially with values higher than -10 or something, it produces totally MIDI garbage. So if you have a spiccato line, da 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 da, and you set it to -125, it plays like da 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 da, something like that. So right now there's no way for me to do a Studio One template. I need to look into version 5. I will get that, I guess, tomorrow and look at it. So currently no Studio One template. If they improve that bug with a negative track delay, then we can talk about it. But for now, no way to do it. Hello, Tom. Good to have you around. So let's finish the cello line here. Get rid of all that stuff. Move that over there. I think overall we can give the shallows a little bit more belly. Move that up. And then, last but not least, okay, so let's listen to the strings alone. No, before we do that, let's put this thing onto, I do like the suggestion, sorry, with the pizzicato in the bass. We need to move that an octave down and make that quieter. So, string section, let's listen. Actually, let's keep this on the D and another thing that Nucleus actually does, you have control over the vibrato. So vibrato pretty much is all the way on, but on that last note, I want to bring that down to turn into a non-vib. Oops. So we have a little bit slower, gradually going from vib to non-vib. If we just solo the violas, it sounds like this. So that's pretty cool because that helps to create a little bit more realism. Just bring that back up there. And the pizzicato is too loud for my taste, so we can bring that down a little bit. And also, I do not like to, I think I still have the OTT on the string bus. I want to definitely have them a little bit warmer. So I'm going to get rid of the OTT here. And actually, so since this is now, I can show how I work with my own plugin. So obviously, I'm not a big fan of the stock plugins, but they do what they do. But I'm also a big fan of some of the wave stuff. So I love that. For example, the red on the strings. why, for heaven's sake, was the reverb muted? That rings an alarming bell for me. Damn it! Found an error, I need to fix that. Gonna re-upload the... So if you use the template, make sure the string long reverb is actually not routed to the string stem. I'm gonna fix that right away after the stream, and we'll update the version. So just make sure that everything is routed where it should be. The rest is fine. Was just this long string verb was going to the master instead of strings. So, where are we? Hello from Sweden, Rickard. Hi. Has Nucleus Consortinos? It does. Yeah. By the way, Audio Imperia is in the stream. Everyone, big shout out for creating Nucleus. Thank you so much, guys. This is a beast of a library. It's an awesome library, and now we have a little helper to make some more use of it, hopefully, with a little template that gets you going fast. So, and obviously, I mean, since we're in that realm, we need some snares. Okay. I don't know if I've played it live or programmed that. I definitely want to make sure that they are very much in the back. So same thing. I already have them on a... So that is the sound originally. And when I move the reverb pre-fader and move the fader down, I can move the sound of the, especially of the drums, further to the back. So that sounds pretty neat. We really want to use the subtle volumes here on the snare. So let's start with being on the grid first and foremost. And that was a bit too soft. And I think that is 30-second notes. And I randomize them a little bit. Why? Okay, that's why. So. So. I think that we do 30-second triplet. Rob is here? Oh, Rob, hey, good to see you. Yeah, something like that. That sounds pretty neat. I like that. I think we can even raise the volume a little bit on this one. So let's put, what is the initial? So let's put that on 110. And we can also layer in some woodwinds. Obviously, for that kind of stuff, you will need that. A little bit loud. By the way, that's a pre-orchestrated stuff. Really helpful if you are on a time crunch, so you can use the flutes and clarinets at once. Bring the volume down on this one. 2, 3, 4. Can copy that last bar. I want to do this twice. I think these are layered from the original recording, so they are not recorded to Jan, help me out there if I'm wrong. I think these are derived from the original recordings and just layered together. So we have the trumpet. The last one I wanted to put that. I love that downwalk here in the woodwind. That sounds pretty nice with the harmony. And actually, I want to change that note to a trill, to a whole note trill. That means, actually, I undo that, cut that here, because I want to keep the module data and just move that to the whole tone trill. And the main volume was not set. That's nice. So that gives a nice color there. Just a little bit of flourish. And we can also double the pizzicato from the double bass with a bassoon's staccato. See what that sounds like. So let me catch up with the chat here. Sorry, guys. So Rob is here. We're that. Remco said, which would you prefer the most? Spitfire Symphonic, Metropolis Arc, Jaeger, or Nucleus? Honestly, for me, it would always, if I need to decide, I would rather go with Metropolis and Audio Imperia instead of Spitfire, because Spitfire I rarely use unless I'm specifically after that air sound. So, but it really depends on what you're working on. Since I do a lot of hybrid and trailerish type of stuff and things like that, Jaeger and Nucleus are perfect for that, and Metropolis Arc as well. So, welcome from Poland, Tomasz. I just saw you bought it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I forgot to do the drawing. So, where are we at? We have 24 comments. So let's see. One of you guys will be the first lucky winner. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Scott Moran. Not Moron, sorry. Moran. So you will get a free copy of the Nucleus template. Congratulations. We'll send it out after the stream and get in touch. By the end of the stream, we will do one more giveaway. So I just want to get rid of that. And I forgot what does it sound like with the bassoons. So last but not least, what we need for that type of stuff. Just like that. Can't do that kind of stuff without a choir. Okay, now we're getting in Hymn for the Fallen territory. But I mean, it's fine. Inspired by. I so wish now that the vocals would have legato. But they don't. Oh, missing range here. Cool thing about Nucleus is that you can set the range to your liking. So you go to advanced, go to range and activate that, and then we can. Now we have the B that I needed. Okay, let's put the soprano on top there. Need to turn that down there. And we can add, since we have it, so that subboom is not part of Nucleus. I just created it from the ground casa, but it's included in the download. Which brings me to the point, if you're not lucky enough to win a copy of the library today, don't you worry. You can head over to this website and get it at intro price for $39 till next week, Tuesday, I think. What kind of scene would you imagine for this score that you wrote? Well, obviously, military hero, either funeral or battlefield, walking the next morning with all the bodies lying around, but they won the battle. So kind of sad, but still heroic tone. That's kind of what I have in mind for that. Oops. The choir came in a little early. Can you please not come early? Thank you. That soprano is a little bit blasting, so let's make them a bit quieter. And also what this track really calls for is a tempo automation. So what we're going to do is add a tempo track. Where did that end up? There. So we are on 72. First of all, we want to read the tempo. Bring that to 72. That's our starting point. So 72. I want to slow down just a little bit to say 68. Back to 7. Well, we can copy that back to 72. Bring that to the reverbs are all Valhalla, yes. 76, a little bit more. Back to 72. And slowing down even more. 65. I could do it gradually, but Cubase has a little bit of an issue with gradual tempo changes. Back to 72. Okay, it's subtle, but it helps to create a little bit more of an emotion throughout. Oh, I just learned something new. You can adjust the range of the tempo so you see better what you actually do to the changes. cool. I didn't know that. So, actually, I want to slow it down even more on this one. And overall, I think we can even go down to 70. And I want to do more of a pause with the trumpet here. Vocals need to stop. So I want to have that little pause before it gets back in. I think we can bring that down even more. That was a little much. Oops, that needs to go up again. Too fast. I think that is just a tad too slow. So, that's also a tad too slow. We can get that up to tempo already here. Beef that up a little. 74 and going back to 72 here. That sounds pretty neat. Oops, a dry horn. Don't know. was not too bad, I think. Let's see. I mean, I have the feeling that I'm kind of packing and packing. It's already way too full. That sounds nice. Actually, let's give him a little bit of a breather here. Okay, since we're on it, let's add another mistake that I just found. These three should not be here. Where's my tuba? Again, a case of missing some range. So just open that up. That's what I love about the library. Go to range and say, I need an E. There we go. Record just the tuba there on top. I mean, listen to that brass alone. We are on the classic mix right now, so there's not much that needs to be done, but just listen to that brass on its own. It sounds amazing. Technically, I would need to change the horns here because we have some... I think that sounds better. Can you show again how to deal with the latency? Of course. So again, it's sampled with these the initial setting for the instruments on the sample start point is minus 120 or 127 milliseconds, 125 milliseconds track delay. So I think you can hear that when I hit the key and when the sound comes. Da-da. So there is a little bit of delay between the staccato and the hit of the key and the sound of the note. So, and I do have CC18 on my MIDI controller here. Whatever MIDI controller you have, you can even use your phone with Touch OSC, for example. Just somewhere where you have a fader or something or a knob, and then you can move that sample start knob with a fader. So, and before I actually record, I move that all the way up. So I have that immediate direct response. And once the track starts playing from the beginning, it reinitializes itself to 125 because CC18 in that little MIDI bit in the beginning of the channel is set to 64, which translates to 125 milliseconds. And if you accidentally record the CC18 on the MIDI track, you can also manually just correct it. And the important thing is to set it back to value 63 to make sure it is set to 125 and then sits on the grid. Skemet said, are all the instruments routed through effect channels in Sense, or are some routed dry through stereo out of the template? No, everything is routed to its corresponding group. So the strings end up on the string reverb and finally in the string stem. So I can easily play it back and then just solo the brass stem or the woodwinds. And also, of course, so everything is pre-routed. And in the instrument itself, you can determine how much reverb, for example, you want to have on that instrument. That will be bone dry, or you can really push it. So, and then you could decide to either put a flute on top or, like I said, an oboe. And we do have, I think we have the solo legato oboe. Sorry for the noise outside. What a beautiful sounding oboe. So, oh, what the heck? I think someone of my neighbors is moving. So that was just a little bit fumbling around there on top. Not really sure what I did here. Da-ba-da-ba-da. I think it's a little bit too much here. Modulation. No. That sounds pretty nice. I want to have the solo oboe a little bit more to the left. So, and it sounds like it's sitting a little bit right. So I just take the combined panner, move that all the way, and then I have it sitting on the right, I think. My ears are still looking for the previous trumpet melody that you wrote in the 7th bar. Why do you take it down? Is there any specific reason? In the 7th bar? Yeah, something is missing here. You're right. I think we need to move that up. Other than that, I don't really know what I did in the 7th bar and already forgot about it. And sometimes that happens. And I just keep going with, sorry for that, whatever new stuff comes to mind. If I would specifically need to know what you were asking for, I would need to go back in the video and see what I did there. It just happens as I go along. Sometimes I just delete stuff that I did. Sometimes I accidentally delete stuff that I did. And don't really know what to do else. But what can I say? I don't know what to say. It's such a random progress. Sometimes you hear completely ready done in your head what you want to do. Sometimes you don't. And I mean, this is just a little bit of improvising around and work through the template. And since somebody asked, can it sound a little bit more Hollywood-esque? Definitely with a classic mix of the mics, you can get really, really nice sound there. Let's bring in the rolls here. That actually sounds already a tad much. Save it. Good point. Actually, I want to say that as. So move that back a bit. And I also want to roll off the high frequency here. Oops. That should be there. I want to roll off the high frequency on the timpani here. And also to turn it down a little. It's a little bit too loud. So main volume. Again, some neighbors moving. I'm sorry for the noise there. That's better. So when we listen to that, to render the timpani rolls to audio, no. Usually I try to adjust them until they sit where they should in MIDI. Unless I need to, then I render to audio. It's moving because I work too loud. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Indeed. Hats off to Ennio. So what I would do on this one, I think I would treat it a little differently than I did in the template. Again, for the template, I for the most part went with Cubase stock plugins only. So I would pretty much get rid of the master chain here. No effect at all. So bring in an SSL master, go with a master preset, something like that. That's usually a good starting point. Analog is fine. And then I would bring in either virtual tape machines or chroma tape. But I also have the J37. That's the one I think I would use on this one. Go with preset, vocal slab, mastering, mid frequency enhancer. Yeah, I think I want to bring out the mids a little more on this one. That actually does wonders on the channel. And you can feel a harp missing. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but Nucleus doesn't include a harp. And I wanted to stick it to Nucleus with this one right now. So no harp today. No harp today. And last but not least, let's go with the Folder Pro. Control L and go with a very, very subtle, I think transparent should be the best bet. Bring that down a little bit and just bring that up to volume. I think we can easily hit like +8 or something. Let's watch the meters. So, lots of headroom there. Worst case scenario, if you feel that, I mean, I built this template with specifically with lots of headroom in mind, so all the channels are turned down. Well, actually, -2.3 is not that much. But if the signal that is hitting your insert chain, your master chain, too low, finally, what you can do, easy as pie, is just go to the stems and raise the pregain like 5 or 6 dB. And immediately your master feed will turn up. There was a question, will this be available for Studio One? Not as of now. I actually need to look into the new version of Studio One 5 that was released today. In Studio One 4, there is a problem with the negative track delay, and this whole template and the whole system relies heavily on this -125 second track delay to make the sound as it is. And in Studio One, the negative track delay produces total MIDI garbage, so you cannot really use that. So unfortunately, right now, there is no option for me to have a proper Studio One template. But if they fix that in the new version, and I'm going to check that out later this afternoon, then there will be a future Studio One version for this template as well. And I'm also looking into providing a Logic version. Sorry for that. So yeah, I raised the stems by 5 dB, so we have way more signal to work with now. And since the whole theme is actually pretty quiet, I wouldn't even push it that hard. So it starts to sound strange when you have a rather quiet piece and then move it to the max in terms of sound. So I would rather keep it at +3, 4 dB. I did not move from Studio One to Cubase. I have always been on Cubase, and every now and then I peek my nose out into Studio One. There are some things in Studio One that I really like, especially when it comes to more modern producings, like hip hop, EDM, stuff like that. I do love the pattern editor and stuff like that that Studio One has. And this afternoon, I actually will take the time to watch through the announcements for Studio One 5 and see what it has to offer. And it's definitely a solid weapon, but I will have always been and will always be a Cubase guy, which doesn't mean that I cannot look into other DAWs. I do have Ableton. I actually recently looked at Fruity Loops. Didn't really get along with it, have to be honest. You would like to remind everyone, Cubase has a discount of 40% off for 10.5 Pro until July 28th. That's true, actually. Cubase is on sale right now. So Can you get closer to a more Hollywood-ish sound with Nucleus? I think that track speaks volumes. You can, well, it's not a track, that little snippet. You absolutely can get a full-blown sound out of Nucleus. Is it the all-in-one solution for everything? No, obviously not. But like the name suggests, Nucleus orchestral core. As a core, it works really, really good. And the sound is amazing. The low brass is worth the admission alone. And when you then update it with additional sounds or libraries, I would actually combine it with a dedicated string library like Cinematic Studio Strings, or something that Audio Imperia may have up its sleeve that may not be coming. Since they announced it already, they come out with Area, a new string library, so there are demos up already on the website, so check that out. Maybe I can do an update to this template later down the line to include a string library. I will definitely do a trailer template with Jaeger. That is something that is already in the works. And yeah, other than that, it sounds pretty nice. And we have one more drawing for a winner of the Nucleus template. So you can jump on it right away. I want to get another winner. Hopefully we don't draw the same guy again. I forgot the name, but I can check it in the video, and I opened, yeah, Scott Moran, right. So it's time for drawing number 2 to find out who is the second lucky guy who can get a copy of this neat, nice little Nucleus template. And in case you don't win, don't worry. The template is on intro sale for the next week for $39. Again, you get a fully produced and mixed track, can analyze the MIDI. You get the full session pre-mixed. Please consider that as a starting point, not as the ultimate end setting for your mixes, because every mix needs to be adjusted to what you write. So that mix setup that you get with the template is based on the track that I've written. Nevertheless, there is enough in there for you to get going and to have a starting point for a mock-up created with Nucleus. Thanks again for Audio Imperia for this awesome library, and I hope you enjoyed the template. In case you buy it or you win it, I would absolutely appreciate it if you can leave a review on the page. And head over there, buy it now. And here we go with a proper musical background with the winner, with the second winner of the giveaway. No, version 2. There we go. You guys ready? There we go. Florian Toll. That's Toll. Awesome, Florian, congratulations. And I didn't show the screen. Ha! Again. Well, it was visible in the little corner top there. Florian Toll won the library. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And I mean, that track is not done, but that's a starting point for me to get going. Guys, that was awesome. I really appreciate... Florian is you, Lolilo? Congrats. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that you were Florian. No, you didn't. Okay. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. 1 week intro sale for the template. Check it out. And if you don't have it yet, if you don't have Nucleus yet, you can buy the template and then get Nucleus, of course. So Audio Imperia will not be mad about you if you get Nucleus right away. Jan is just asking if Florian does have Nucleus. Yeah, I asked people to actually just compete if they either have Nucleus or... Jan, what are you doing? What is all... Oh my god. I'm listening. What is Audio Imperia doing? You're doing a surprise giveaway. Holy macaroni. I didn't expect that. One copy of Nucleus for a second winner. Well, how do we verify that someone does not have Nucleus already? I mean, I specifically asked people to only vote if they have Nucleus. I mean, I can select another winner. I just don't know. Okay, know what? We do a drawing. With how many comments do we have? 25. Ben Thatcher. I don't have it. Jan, you're putting me in a nice position here. Well, fuck it. Let's just do a random drawing, and whoever comes up with wins it. And if that one, yeah. So Jan, what do you say? If the winner already has Nucleus, they get something else from the shop. What do you think? Before I hit the start button, I want to verify with Audio Imperia. Remco. No, I think I'm done with writing. Okay, there we go. We have one more drawing that I didn't know about. So we have 2 winners for the template and now 1 random winner for either Nucleus. Holy moly. Jan, that's amazing. Or something of equal value from the shop. I wouldn't wonder if we suddenly have 35 or something. Oh, 27. Okay, 2 more guys. Well, fuck it, let's go. Thanks to Jan. Well, how do we enter? I missed it. Okay, that's actually pretty solid question. So we give it 1 more minute. Whoever has not been on it, jump to this chat on Facebook and leave a comment. And do it fast, because in 60 seconds, we're going to draw a winner that can win a free copy of Nucleus. Full screen, please. There's the full screen, of course. And the link is here. I posted again. Gives me time to show you guys the Nucleus trailer once more, in case you haven't seen it yet, because I actually do like that one and did my best to make it nice. So you still can jump over to the website and grab the template, because that is not anymore giving away. But if you haven't seen it, this is the trailer for the Nucleus template. Wait, do we have actually audio? I hope so. Boom. So that was the trailer. And that track is included in the download for Nucleus, for the Nucleus template, sorry. And I think we are ready. Jan, what do you think? Where are we at? Let's check. We have the Cubase template and the random comment picker. We have 35 entries now, of course. And we are giving away a free copy of Nucleus that goes along with this template. Let's put on some music. Let's start the drum roll. Actually, I could could just sit here all day and do no, let's play the audio. Fuck it, let's go. One guy or girl. Thank you, Audio Imperia. Rob Casper. Rob, I hope you're in the chat. Open that in a new tab. Rob, congratulations. And damn it, if you got Nucleus, you get the template for free as well. So that's the third giveaway from my end there. So that is Nucleus and the Nucleus template for Cubase. I really hope that you are on Cubase. And if you have Nucleus already, Jan will definitely find something nice for you. Congrats, Rob. So that... Oh, coffee from wifey. Cheers. Thanks. So, press pick another one. No, I think we're done there. I'm sorry. But Rob is the winner. Jan, thank you so much. What can I say? This is awesome. This is really, really awesome. We have a winner for Nucleus and for the template. 3 templates. Scambot? Are you Rob? Well, we will figure it out. Anyway. Well, Scambot, if you're Rob, I don't even know that you're Rob, but I will figure it out on Facebook. So, congratulations to everyone who participated today. Again, thank you, Jan. The template is on intro sale for another week. Audio Imperia has some really, really nice coming up as well in the next couple of days. I think more details are released on Thursday. So, template comes with a full trailer track, with an empty modern mix and an empty classic mix. The track we did today, or that little piece of track we did today, was with a classic mix, because that is not as hyped. Well, Scambot, congratulations! That's Nucleus and the template for you right away. Jan, thank you. All you guys, thanks for watching. And I actually see you tomorrow for another giveaway, because Red Room Audio and Simple Logic have released Symphonic AI. And we're going to take a look at that tomorrow at 11 a.m. PST. And I do have one giveaway copy for that library as well. So tomorrow is another giveaway time. Clock in at 11. Thanks for joining. There we go. And thank you. Have a great afternoon. Talk soon. Bye-bye.